So good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Centaur event focusing on circular strategies to tackle food waste in hospitality. My name is Erwan Moisan. I'm a circular economy trainer and facilitator at EcoRes, a Belgian consultancy focusing on sustainable transition. And I'm also a partner at the European project called Centaur. It's the 3 years project focusing on circular capacity building for SMEs of the tourism industry. So in today's agenda, we will focus on practical ways to tackle food waste in the tourism sector, hospitality sector. We'll have two keynotes from two guests who will present how they deal actually with food waste in their day-to-day activities. So the first presentation will be made by Carlos Enriquez from restaurant Nola in Helsinki, Finland, a restaurant that is a pioneer in zero waste approaches to hospitality. So he will tell us a bit more about his philosophy and the practical measures he's been implementing in his restaurant. Next, Anne Castagnaber, head of sustainability department of Ubensi, will explain how this French agency is actually developing practical solutions to create value from professional waste and more precisely including restaurant food waste. So we will run those two presentations in a row. For one of the speakers, please write them down in the chat. We will not answer them straight. We will wait that the two presentations are over and then try to select a few relevant questions to open the discussions with those two speakers. One note is that the meeting is also being recorded. So if you don't have time to watch it till the end, know that on the Centaur circulartourism.eu website, in a few days, you will be able to watch a replay of this seminar. But maybe a little bit about Centaur before we dive into the two presentations. So as I mentioned in the first few minutes, so Centaur is a 3 years EU-funded project. It started in September 2020, and it aims to accelerate the uptake of sustainable and circular solutions of SMEs in the tourism sector. And what we're trying to do here is basically develop new skills and competencies through capacity building. So if you go to the website of circulartourism.eu, you will find several tools and resources, for instance, handbooks to develop circular economy strategies in your hotel or restaurant, for instance. We have a best practice database highlighting different good initiatives in Europe and in the world around circularity in the sector. We also have a set of free online courses tackling different topics relevant to circularity. And we've done also face-to-face training sessions. But what we're trying to do also is develop local ecosystems of circular tourism providers. So we have specific countries in which we are having direct interactions, I would say. So Italy, Spain, Greece, Moldova, and North Macedonia, where we trained and coach specific tourism providers to set up a circular economy strategy and implement specific actions to become more circular. And of course, beyond these kind of actions, we also promote knowledge transfer between SMEs. So really enterprises who are active in circular economy. So we do study visits, and we do, for instance, also this webinar like today, to try to learn from what people can do, what people have done already, what are the challenges, difficulties, and trying to inspire all of us in getting more circular in our activities. So today's focus, as I said, is really about food waste. We know it's not the only topic relevant when it comes to circularity in the tourism industry. At the moment, I think a lot of SMEs are tackling issues related to energy efficiency or switch to renewable energy. We know that it's, in terms of resilience, it's very important at the moment to tackle those issues. But there are broader dimensions to look at when dealing with circularity. For instance, plastic waste is one key topic that we'll be talking about in the next webinar. Collaborative consumptions also is something that we think is relevant. But today we really try to focus on food waste. And again, when it comes to tackling food waste, whether we're dealing with, trying to use and serve products that are, as natural and as organic and using as little pollutants as possible. There are also different actions to create additional value from food waste. For instance, looking at valorization of food waste. And this is something we're going to be talking about, obviously, in that webinar. But so first, what we were intending to do here is get like a clear, practical experience from one restaurant that has been doing it pretty well. So I will introduce Carlos. So if you want to maybe start sharing your presentation. So Carlos Enriquez is head of Nolla restaurant in Helsinki, and has been quite active in developing zero waste strategies for his restaurant. So he will tell us a bit more about that for the next 15-20 minutes, and then we'll switch to the next presentation afterwards. So Carlos, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the introduction. So yeah, as has been said, Restaurant Nolla is in Helsinki. It's been running for 5 years, and since early stages, it was very focused on sustainability, not actually only on food, which I will focus today, but on everything, every single aspect on the global form. It started from just doubting a little bit of the industry standards. Is it okay what we do? Do we know enough? Or what kind of things could we standardize to improve sustainability? And I will just give some very clear examples through the presentation. But I would like to start by talking about what actually does it mean to be sustainable, because I think nowadays this word is really overthrown and overused and probably misused. The connection of sustainability nowadays is almost to greenwashing or has lost kind of the meaning. But to me, sustainability actually refers to actions that will help us to live longer in this planet. So in a way, we are actually doing this for us. So we are doing it for ourselves because and for our families and for our friends. And I think that's the core of what we do there. Why should you be sustainable? Well, I just basically spoke about it in the sense that for me, sustainability it's the planet doesn't need us at all. We are the ones that are privileged enough to live how we live, and I think these things that we get for granted are so important for us that we don't even understand. So I think you really need to also believe a little bit that you need to be sustainable to actually take clear actions. Of course, the financial point is very important, but it needs to be on the core of your values. You need to believe that this is the right thing to do. And I normally just tell people, because when you speak about sustainability, it's such a big, it's so big that you don't even know where to start. Even just if you specifically think about food waste, I mean, do I start in the packaging? Do I minimize, do I minimize how I cook? Do I utilize the peels of the veggies? So it's really important that you understand that you just gotta start. And I normally say, to be good, you just need to be good. You don't need to be perfect. So start thinking about it, start doing something, and you're gonna get there. And of course, the next slide is basically, how do we start? I normally try to divide this in four main points that I will, so that it's easy for companies to access how they should approach sustainability. I'm very focused on the restaurant industry. That's what I've been doing all my life. So I have focused on these 4 points on the restaurant industry, but I believe that they can be used for anything you wish. And the points are basically planet, people, product, and profit. On a nutshell, the planet, it's pretty much just that the planet, it's round. You know, if you believe in science, and I hope you do, the planet is round, and this means that when you throw a bottle of plastic away, you're gonna have microplastics in the water that you will drink one day. And so understanding that we all live in the same planet, it's how we start the conversation. Then people, it's by motivating the team, and I can move a little bit the slide. I had a slide to show that the Earth is round, and then I have some of the team members that work with us. But when I was speaking about people, it's if you don't get your team to understand the mindset of what you have to do, if you don't are able to change the mindset, they will pretty much only see extra work in some of the activities that you are giving to them. But if you are able to do this, you are actually adding extra value. So people, when they come to work, they feel they are doing more than, you know, just being waiters. They are just doing a little bit more than being cooks. They feel that they probably are adding something to the industry, creating something new, something with a little bit more value than they would be doing in any other restaurant. And I mean, as we all know, talent is one of the main issues in most companies right now. So if you are able to keep your team, either you're a head chef or owner or a hotel manager, keep your team motivated by understanding how much more they are doing extra, I think it can be a massive added value to you. And the next thing that we speak about it is product, because I strongly believe that sustainability cannot be used as an excuse for lack of quality in any of your products. And actually, I have made sort of my life mission to believe that sustainability or should be associated to high quality products, because I mean, I can give food examples, but we also should believe that if we buy a backpack that is sustainable, is a backpack that is able to last, you know, 10, 15, 20 years. And that's what sustainability is a backpack that is as a design that we will like for long, that as a design that is meant for to last, and that as a design that let us utilize it and in very different activities through the day. And I believe is the same in food. I have seen in the past sustainability be used for lack of quality on food, and I believe that sustainable food uses the best products in the region, because these are probably organically farmed, these are local, so they are fresh. These are what the farmers around you have the best to offer, and I want to offer that back to the customers at a reasonable price. And then at last, I mean, profit is also relevant. if you are not able to keep going and to make your company profitable, you are not sustainable. It's like it or not, that's the world we live in, and you got to understand the finances of your business. And to understand that, I will now just move a little bit to the practicalities that we do, and explain a little bit what is actually on the screen, going to the financial part. So while the products are coming from the farmers, they come in packagings that are able to go back and forth. This is quite easy to understand, you know, with I don't know, a case of potatoes or carrots. Most farmers have no issues to take the case back and bring it next week. And then we do the same with pretty much every ingredient. So we do the same with meat, we do the same with fish. I have told the story that we actually needed to develop our own packaging for fish. By European law, fish needs to actually be delivered in a styrofoam box, and the styrofoam box is actually not washable. So this means that if someone delivers fish to you at the moment, there's two solutions: or you throw it away, or you actually melt it again and you do a box again. But we believe that was a better solution, so we actually develop a box that is still styrofoam, but the inside is washable. So this means that we are able to use the same styrofoam box over and over, and after the fish is delivered, we just wash the inside on our dishwasher. It's dishwasher size, and it can be refilled over and over. This is just to give an example how the products come in. There's a lot more. So for example, the oil is delivered in a truck by ton. So we have our own deposit for oil. We are quite extreme on some of the things. We don't use any pepper. We don't use any spices. They are not growing in the country. And again, but we try not to utilize any of these things, or we don't accept any of these things to an excuse of lack of quality in the product. We just believe in a different mindset so that we can use different ingredients to give flavor to the plate. After that, we actually we have the product itself. That's where the food waste work starts. We already have adapted our recipes to minimize waste. How do we do this? We basically touch the product as little as necessary. What do I mean with this? We always make the question, does it add value to the dish if we peel these potatoes? To give you a very basic example, is it added value to the dish if we, you know, take the green parts of the leek away, and we threw it in the bin? And if it is, then we will do it. But then immediately in the same recipe, we keep going with the rest parts of the product. This doesn't mean, even when we adapt our recipe, this doesn't mean that we have no organic waste. We do. And to measure this, we have adapted a very clear structure. So what we have, instead of the very clear bottle bins that every restaurant has, we actually have see-through containers in every station that we work on. I'm very against the big black bins, because I believe that, you know, when food is thrown away there, it disappears. It goes to a different reality. It doesn't exist in my reality as a cook anymore. And so to compensate that, to make people understand the waste that they are doing all the time, they have the waste bin next to their stations, is a see-through. So this means I can be judged at any point by the waste that I'm doing. Anyone can look at it, anyone can see it. And then before I get rid of it, I actually need to save it in a software that we have in the company, which is what you are seeing here. And I need to answer to 4 questions before I throw it away. So, who am I? What I'm throwing away? Why and how much? So this gives us very clear data of what we are throwing away. And what we do with that data is actually we meet each other every 15 days, and we try to come up with real solutions for the biggest problems. So instead of tackling all the issues at once, we just try to look at the biggest and then try to come up with a solution for it, because we change the menu quite often. So this is very relevant that we do it also very often, that we can analyze the variables that are changing through the year. I will show. So then after we have that, we still have that organic waste, it didn't disappear. So we decided to actually have this machine in the restaurant itself, and it's an industrial composter. It basically just mixes the waste really small, really slow, and it keeps it isolated so that it can be at the right temperature. Is actually, we decided to have our composter in the middle of the restaurant, so you actually have view to it while you are eating in the restaurant. We decided that you have privileged view to our garbage room. That's how we kind of pitch it to our guests, and because we really want to normalize it. We want to normalize the responsibility about the waste that we produce, and then this compost is we empty actually the compost only once a week at the moment. That's enough for us, and we empty it on Tuesdays, and it's the same day that most of the farmers come, so they can take the compost back to the farmers and use as a fertilizer to kind of close the loop of what we are doing in terms of waste. Just looking here at my timer, and I would also I would also like to give a couple of examples that we do in terms of the restaurant that are outside of the food waste. So we work with actually several local universities. So here was, we actually spoke with the University of Arts here in Helsinki and Aalto Design, and they actually had all this waste from the clay classes, how they teach the students how to make pots. So we actually spoke with the students, and they were able to collect the waste of their classes, and then they grind it, and then they were actually able to make our plates for the restaurant. Then we also have, for example, here upcycling project that we do with Evolume, which is collecting the bottles of the restaurant. It creates art pieces and utilizing the material. So for example, the glasses actually that you see in the middle, there were water bottles that we collect from the Finnish presidential palace. And then we cut it, and those are the glasses that you can see in the restaurant, sort of to raise awareness of, why wouldn't they use bottle? Why wouldn't they use tap water or gasification area if they can, to give the example. These are not so meaningful by the carbon footprint itself that we say, but they are really to change the mindset of people that work in this industry, and they are able to make the decisions, or decision makers. We also have our clothes. They are made for bed linens that we collect in hospitals. Then we actually found a company called Tauku that is able to make our clothes and to color them. These are actually colored with onion skins, to make our clothes in the restaurants. And I mean, that's it. I wanted to keep it in time, and I really hope people are not afraid of making questions. I kindly ask you to, you know, not be afraid of open your mind, and whatever is that you might think that is relevant, please ask. And I think that's it. That's my presentation.
Great. Thanks, Carlos, for those inspiring activities you are doing. I will just ask the audience that if they have questions, they can put it in the chat. We will not answer them straight now, because I think we want to have like the second presentation first before we start with the questions and answers. But if based on the presentation of Carlos, you do have questions, please do not hesitate to write them down now. So we can obviously select the most relevant ones, so that Carlos can provide additional insights after the second presentation. But now I will maybe invite Anne to start sharing your screen. So this is a second presentation of the day. So here we'll try to look to take a focus a bit outside of the kitchen, to know exactly what concretely can be done in a professional way, actually, when it comes to food waste valorization. So Anne is our second speaker, and she's coming from the French agency UbenSea. And she will introduce us obviously to what concretely this organization is doing in France to support restaurants in tackling their food waste. Anne, if you're ready to go, then the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Carlos, for your insight of what you can do concretely in restaurants. I'm very glad to be part of this event. Pardon my English, as waste management is quite a local market. I am not used to use my English skill very often. So please pardon me for my accent. It's quite rusty. So, hi everyone, I'm Anne. I am at the head of the sustainability department of UbenSea. UbenSea is like an expert on professional waste management, and one of our sector which we work in is like restaurants and more globally hospitality, all kind of restaurants like collective restaurants, thematic restaurants, fast foods, hotels, and we work with all kind of professional, and our goal is to help professionals to make their on-demand setups for waste management, because waste is like concerns all of us, but it's quite difficult to know what really happens when you produce waste, and when you ask a professional to manage your waste. So our role is to really counsel a professional to analyze the context and each and every site, to see what they need, to see what are their particularities, and to advise them to have the best setup for their waste management. On this topic, on food waste, first of all, I know there is like a double meaning in English for food waste. It's like when you're wasting food. So Carlos, you were telling us about how you manage your data to measure your waste, how you waste food, or how you reduce the wasting of food. I will give the other parts which you also treat with your biodigester. I will only speak of the waste. When you are it's the waste resulting for your food preparation or food consumption. So there are two words for this. It's like food waste is only regarding the food, and bio waste is all the biological waste, like when you are gardening on everything. So both of the meaning will be used today. in European Union, we have like nearly 75 million, 57 million tons of food waste each year. So it's quite a large topic, and beyond the issues of waste reduction in the zero waste approach that you have as a professional, we really have an issue to look at what happens next, because it's like a very valuable waste. You can produce energy with it, you can produce valuable material as compost with it, and it's also a very it's like a nonsense to bury them or to incinerate them, because it's a wet material, and you really need to extract them for your residual waste. It's also like we use in French the term perturbateur. It's like when you doesn't sort the food waste, it can prevent the recycling of other material, because it's for your cardboard, for example, it's when you mix food waste with the cardboard is not recyclable anymore, because you put so much wet material in it. So it's a really good start. If you doesn't know where to start, you were talking about it, Carlos. Just start somewhere. If you don't know where to start, looking at what you do for your food waste is like a good way to start, because it's a multi advantage for you. I will give three or four insights. I will just very briefly, in 30 seconds, give you what you, as a European citizen, what you need to do for your food waste. And then I will present you really briefly what is the difference between methanization and composting, and how to choose your setup, and what are the parameters you need to look at when you want to put the sorting disposition in your kitchen, or in your room, or in your hotels and everything. And I will give you some feedbacks, some ideas at the end. And what is really interesting is that I think I will present the exact same equipment that you have in your restaurant, Carlos. The biodigester, I will talk about it. So I think it's exactly the same model. So that's kind of funny. So you can have it, even if you're not in France, you can have it too. So I think it's quite funny as a coincidence. So I will give you some of the information here, but the key point you need to remember is like all member states must ensure that by the end of this year, at the latest, bio-waste is collected separately and recycled by composting, methanization, or any way to produce some valuable matter with your food waste. So I think every country is quite late on this obligation. Not maybe the northern countries, but I know in France it's like the rush to achieve this engagement. You know that not every country will have the perfect disposition to ensure that the food waste are valorized at the end of the year, but you need to know that it's kind of a legal obligation for every country to propose and to put coordinate some food waste management system. So it's the key point you need to know regarding the food waste regulations. Maybe your country has specific regulation, but I don't really know where you are from, and it's quite a local market. So I can talk to you about the French regulation, but you need to have a look of your specific regulation in your country. So methanization or composting, maybe you already know the difference. I will give you some insight on this, but at first, why it's a highly recoverable source of material? Yeah, there are 4 key points you need to know. It's that the food waste, so the biological waste, the bio waste in general, you can take advantage of the natural process that is decomposition, that produce gas, that produce energy, that can produce compost and everything. It's a natural process, so it's a low tech process. But so every country can have it. Everyone can do some compost. It's a natural way. The food waste decompose and you can produce something with it. You can give simply value back to your waste. You can create a local product that can replace imported synthetic products. I'm explaining myself. You have to, when you are on agriculture, I don't know if you say like this in English, but when you, I don't know, agriculteur, I don't know if it's the same word.
You can say farmer.
Okay, farmer. When you are a farmer, you have 2 options. Either you can buy some synthesized products for your fertilization, or you can, like in Helsinki, you can go to the Nola restaurant and take back some compost to fertilize your farm. And the process to produce industrial fertilization is really impactful for the environment. It's a very energy intensive product, and you buy synthetic products from the other side of the world when you can produce very locally compost. So it's kind of a win-win situation, and it's for your farmers, it's quite economical situation, economically a good process for you to produce locally. So as I was saying, you can incinerate waste products. It's like kind of a nonsense, and bio waste mixed with other waste degrades the quality of other the waste like cardboard or plastics or everything. So you have the 2 process like composting. Sorry for the French, I don't have my drawings in with the English traduction. You first of all you collect the waste, the food waste, then you put it on a platform of valorization. If you don't have composting at home, you need to look at the composition of your food waste, because the composting is like a balance between in French we say azote material is like when you really food waste, or carbon material like woods or green waste from gardening and everything. And you need to have quite a good mix to make good compost. So it's like 50-50 to have a good balance between the materials. So you do your mixture, and then you crush it to have that's what the machine do. That's what the equipment do. It's like it's crush and mix the materials, and then you have the storage of during the fermentation process, where the compost rise up in temperature. It's like over 60 degrees, and you kill all the bacteria and everything during this process. And then, like a good wine, you need some time to have a good compost. So you let it mature for a couple of weeks, and then you, like a flower, you just put it through sieves, like through small holes to have an homogenization of the material, a uniform material, and then you can have some compost for your farmers. Of course, you can do something really shorter when you have an equipment at home that do all the process at once, but you still have time to mature the process. It's like a natural time to pass from your food waste to compost. And then you can grow some more excellent food to go to the restaurants. And for the methanization, it's like for really big amounts of waste. It can be small facilities or very, very big facilities, but the process is still the same. You put the organic material in the digester. You use the natural process of fermentation and the capturing the gas to produce energy. And then when you already have this process over, and when you have captured all the gas that can produce heat, energy, electricity, or everything, it depends on the facility, you still have what we call in French a digesta. It's like the remaining of the material, and this remaining can be used as a fertilization residual. Like it's not used really as a compost because it's very, very rich, but you can use it in agricultural, like fertilization process. So that is the you can use both of this process. It depends on where you are located. In some countries, you have lots of options for methanization. If you are in a very isolated place, maybe it's better to do some composting at home. And sometimes next to you, there is a composting facility. So there is not a good answer to this. It depends of the context in the country, in your localization, or you need to choose according to your possibilities. And that's what we do in UBNC. We analyze what are the solutions next to your place and how you can do it, how you can optimize the transportation of your food waste. Can you do it at home? Do you have the money to invest in equipments and everything? So we do your setup according to your context. That's what you need to remember. I will explain to you later what are the parameters you need to take in account to choose your setup. So it's a French it's to compare the two solutions. I think you get the point. There is not a good answer. It depends on your situation. So as a professional, how to choose a setup and what are the parameters? First of all, you need to identify where can you capture the food waste, because there are multiple steps in your process to produce and to consume the food, where you need to have a sorting facility to capture every single part of the food waste. I strongly believe in what Carlos said, when you need to have see-through facilities, when you need to have see-through equipment to control what you put in your different bins, in your different sorting facilities. But you need also to put it in each and every step of the process in the production. So you have the reception, where you can have sometimes really spoiled products, or like when you have a mandarin and there is the leaf and everything, you need to have to take it in account in your setup. You have the time when you are deconditioning, when you are preparing cold meal, when you are preparing hot meal, the plunge in the cooking process, the meal distributions, and the return of the tableware, so the plunge at the end of the process. It's globally all the steps where you need to be aware of. Am I producing some bio waste or some food waste at this step of my process? Do I need to put specific equipment to sort the food waste? Do I need to form my cooks, my salaries, my team at each and every step to ensure that everyone is doing the right gesture when sorting the food waste. If you need to know approximately how much do I produce as food waste in my facility, you need you can use the French I don't know to say, but the French ratios we put it. It's like the French Agency for Environment that has done some studies to define how much in every concept, how much do you produce in food waste approximately. It's just to know when you start, when you don't have the data, how to anticipate what you could be producing, and how much you need to estimate to do your process. I will give you this. I don't know if Erwan will send it to you next, but I will give you these ratios. It's like it's public ratios in France. I don't really know if there will be any difference in countries, but you can use it. It's quite it's our base of work. So you identify the place of production of food waste. Then you buy some sorting facilities, like we use generally buckets, or if you have like see-through buckets to put the bio-waste in it to control the quality of sorting. We also have some some bags, transparent bags, biodegradable in bioplastics bags to put it directly in the composter. Less you use plastic, even it's bioplastic, better it is. It's better to have some buckets that you can put in your plunge process than to buy some plastics. Some people prefer to have plastic bags and not to wash, but I strongly recommend that you use reusable buckets. And then you have the storing process. So if you have like Carlos a facility, you just put your food waste directly in your facility. But if you don't, you need to have some sorting, some storing equipment, like as you see in the picture, the bins on wheels, like a very large bucket. If you are a really big facility, and then you need to contract with a professional that will collect your bio waste if you don't have the facility at home. It's the setup. So at each step, you need to do some stuff. So, for example, you need to equip yourself at first, then you need to form and to raise awareness of the teams. You need to adapt the process of the cookings, of the cooks, sorry. And then when it comes to storing bio waste, you need to have a contract with a collector, where you need to buy some facility like a biodigester. You need to size up or to size down the storage container if you accordingly to your production, and you need to define the storage area according to your security and hygiene process. Then you have the last step. You need to define whether the collector will empty or exchange the storage equipment. If they just empty it, are they cleaning it, or are you cleaning it? You need to adjust the frequency, and then you need to ensure that you have the tracking information, like to have the correct register of your collection. At this step, you have the three most frequently asked questions. So according to the final treatment, what can I put in my bucket? If you have an industrial partner, you can put all sorts of bio waste in your sorting equipment. But if you do compost at home, it's okay, but you need to know that you can't put some meat, some fish, some animal products in your compost. That's very important to know, because it can draw up some pests, some bacterial proliferation. So you really need to maybe you need to take contact with your I don't know, your mayors or your local powers. I don't know how to say it in English, but to ensure that you have the right to do compost at home and what you can put it in the compost. In France, you can't put any meat, any fish, any animal products in the in your compost at home if it's artisanal. If you have a facility or if you do have a contract with a professional composter, it's okay. You can put some meat and some leftovers. Be careful, some of the part of the meat will always need to be collected by even if you have a composting process, there are some risks according to some diseases. So please refer to your specific regulation for animal byproducts. If you do some sorting error, what are the impacts? If you have an equipment at home, you can break it. You can prevent the correct functioning. If you have like a contract with a professional, he can say to you, "I'm downgrading your quality. I can't valorize this part of the food waste." So it can be quite I don't know how to say it, but it can generate additional costs, and it can prevent the correct process. And why is it important to collect it regularly and to I don't know, to have a short storage process? Because naturally it will begin the fermentation process. So you will have the odors, you will have the pests, you will have problems with your hygiene department. So if you don't have a facility or an equipment that already protects your bio waste and protects your food waste, you need to put it very, very regularly in the storage area and to empty the storage area really regularly. In France, it's like from 1 week, if you don't have a cold room, if you have heat problem, if you have a hot climate, up to 2 weeks if you have a cold system to keep the food waste cold and to prevent the decomposition and the fermentation process to begin. Last but not least, you need to speak with your teams about the good practice, about the foundation of the food waste sorting. You need to explain them what we are going to do with the food waste. It's very important because they are the one who do the first steps. It's the sorting the sorting gesture. What I advise you to do is to name a green ambassador, an ambassador for amongst your team, and because it gives responsibility to him to talk with others, to answer the question, to follow up the data. It's the best as we work with as we work with our clients. It's like the most effective way to be sure that everyone is following the process, everyone is having the good practices and everything. So I will present you a few feedbacks because I think I'm out of time soon. So it's retext. We say it's like a feedback from our clients. In the first step, he didn't do anything for his bio waste, and he had like a valorization rates at 11%. So that means that 11% of his waste were in a recycling process. And when we put it when we put the bio-waste sorting, when we talk with the teams, when we raise awareness about this issue, all the rates were up. Yeah, I mean, they were sorting better. At first they did like a little bit under 2 tons of cardboard. They were just rising up to almost 5.5 tons of cardboard. We captured like 3 tons of bio-waste and 2 tons of glass, because they didn't do the glass at all. They didn't use their sorting equipment in glass. So up in 1 year, up to over 60%. So it's a very good way to motivate the team to start, because it's effective immediately. You have results immediately. And you can, when you have the data, you can then work on the reduction of the waste. It's quite the process of composting on site. So you have to be careful when you are composting on site. It's the process at one of our clients that has two processes. The one is on-site composting with only vegetable peeling, only vegetable is preparation waste on vegetable or on for his composting on site. Is like spoiled products and everything, but he still have a contract with a professional to have the meal leftovers, fish leftovers, meat leftovers, and everything. So he has two kind of production. It's good because he really communicates and he really produces compost on site, because it's a very, very big site, but it still needs to have some transportation of the food waste because it needs to go to the methanization center to be recycled. So you can say it's not really a win-win situation, because it still has some transportation to do, but it can raise awareness about food waste by by speaking about this composting, by doing some animation around this. So because it's a facility that have some I don't know how to say it, but some events with scholars, with schools. And then you have the biodigester facility. It's what Carlos used, so I will not talk about it, but it's quite a very efficient way to valorize on-site, because it's very compact system. It doesn't smell or anything. I will say of the inconvenience is there is a few energy consumption, because it's an electric device. So even if it's less than a cooling block that will keep your food waste cold, it still works like all around the day. In some countries, like in France, you can't directly use the what's left of the material directly in composting process. You need to wait like three months to use it. And users need to be trained, because it's not because it mash up the food waste and you can't see what it is that you can put like plastic waste or everything. We saw it in one of our clients, as the waste disappear and look like soil. In fact, at the end, they put everything. They say, oh, it's magical, everything disappear, but it was at the end the products was really, really polluted. So you need to train and to raise awareness around the issue, and that you can only, even it mash up and it kind of disappear, you can only put food waste in it. We have another facility that I would like to present to you. It's an electromechanic composting. It's quite large disposition, but it's very, very low tech. It just accelerates the process of composting, and at the end you have normalized compost that you can sell. It's for the very large facility. You can put it on the outside, and you put the food waste. You put some wood pellets in it. You put some wood pellets to do the. I don't know if you remember, but I told you about the balance between food and wood related waste. And at the end, you just do like in a process in kind of a screw, a big screw. And at the end, you can have what you can see on the picture, already done compost, and you can sell it as a compost in your facility. This facility is called Upcycle. It's the name of the company, and you can look at it. It's a French company, but I really think you can have equivalent in your room or in your country. And if you need, you can write to them in English, and they will answer to you if they can help you on this problem. I think I'm done. I apologize again for my very, very bad accent, and I thank you for your attention.
Thanks a lot, Anne, for this extensive presentation. Now we know everything about composting and valorization of food waste. Great, but we still it's good because we still have at least 10 long minutes to answer a few questions that might be raised in the chat. There was one actually that I received directly that I'm going to ask to Carlos. It's pretty much about the communication associated with food waste, in the sense that in your approach you actually put the stock of the amount of waste in the middle of the restaurant to actually communicate to the clients about what you're doing. And I was actually interested, Carlos, to know if you had other communication tricks to actually show that waste is not something necessarily you should hide, but waste is a resource that can create value for the restaurant, for the planet, and also for the consumer who come to your restaurant. So do you have any communication tricks in relation to that you maybe want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a trick, but I can tell you, of course, my story. When you come to the restaurant as a customer, we only actually have the compost. So we don't tell you anything about sustainability, because we believe that when you go to a restaurant, you actually want to eat and drink. You don't want to be schooled. And that's what we prime for. But of course, if you ask about it, all our staff is quite informed about what we do and how we do things. With that said, outside of the restaurant, we do try to echo our efforts quite constantly through through speaking with schools, through speaking with companies. I was just thinking about a story that we did with this software school called Hive, which we, for example, just gave a prize to students that would develop an app that would help restaurants to combat their food waste. You know, restaurant industry at the small level is not very interesting for IT companies, and I do believe that small restaurants really need to understand that digitalization is here, and we really need to use more tools for our daily routines in the restaurants. So I was very pleased to know that, for example, now actually the project is going through, and the student is making an app that is called Smart Scales, which you can just program the scale with anything that you wanted to measure. So, for example, if it's waste, you can just put a bin under the scale, and it will tell you exactly how much waste you put there, how many times was emptied, what is the whole routine, but you can use it for anything else. So that's how we focus our communication. Sorry for the extensive answer.
Very interesting, very interesting. Maybe one question that came in the chat for Anne, pretty much related to if we have statistics or knowledge about, are there any types of food actually that generate higher food waste? And so that basically that information could be informing us when we prepare food, like maybe there's something that we should avoid, because we know that at the end of the day, even when it's nicely prepared, it creates additional food waste. So do you know if there's any such statistics available?
I don't really know if there is such statistics, but what we can say is that automatically vegetable create a lot of food waste, but it's not a bad thing. I think it's kind of it's not like something you need to avoid. But I think I know that in some collective facility, when you are at restaurant, you choose what you want to eat. So statistically, you don't put some leftovers. There is a big debate about buffets when you put some things like you can access freely and go back and everything. Generally, people take lots of amounts of food and then throw away some leftovers. So I think there is quite like a nudge for this, like you put some smaller plates. They can take so much food and they have to take small amounts and go back if they are hungry. And also in a collective facility, you need to do according. You have obligation with your contract, but you need to do according to the taste of children's, especially because one really big part of the food waste in France is related to the scholar things. So there is a lot of waste because we don't take into account what children eat. But I don't think that's a topic here. And the short answer is no, I don't have statistics, but you can use some tricks like small plates for buffets and vegetable produce a lot of waste, but you can compost on site if you want. So that's okay.
Thank you. I will maybe ping pong the question to Carlos, because you were telling us in your presentation that you actually have this thorough process of measuring that specific waste on who did it, what is it, how much is it, and I was actually wondering if you could extract some insights, knowledge from that data, which influence the way you would cook things in the next seasons, for instance. So are there, for instance, more food waste in certain seasons based on specific ingredients? And if so, how do you tackle that issue? How do you adapt the menu to actually make sure that suddenly, you are producing less food waste consciously?
There are, but I actually would like to focus on the bigger picture because in a way, the solution is actually a lot easier and a lot less complex than we like it to think to be, in the way that, so for example, we did some tests in canteens, and if we start measuring waste, we are able to reduce bio waste by 40%. That's ridiculous. And the reason why is because from the perspective of the worker, there's nearly zero interest in me to be zero waste. So I will explain in a very practical, I'm a cook, I've been a cook all my life, and I'm a guy that does breakfast in a hotel, which we all know that the buffets are a big source of waste. If I cook a big tray of food and I put it there, and I cook all the trays full of food, I will have a massive amount of waste, but I will have a lot of more time in the kitchen because I put all the trays big. And when my boss will come, we'll see the kitchen is clean, and I did a great job because I'm never valued by the amount of waste that I produce. It's not part of my evaluation as a cook. It's irrelevant. if that's part of the if that's part of the evaluation, how much money I threw away to my company, I very fast start thinking about it. You know, how do I perform against others? Am I the guy that wastes the most in the morning, or the guy that wastes the so in a way, I mean, because we have a limited amount of time, I would be happy to discuss particular seasons and how we approach things, but actually measuring, it's probably the biggest change that we have ever come across.
Okay, thanks a lot. Very insightful indeed, and maybe like as a next step is like indeed changing the role and responsibilities, or adapting the role and responsibilities of the cook or the cooking staff, meaning that, yeah, sure, at the end of the service the kitchen has to be clean, but you have to have reduced the amount of food waste in your process as a kind of, you know, indicator, performance indicator that you should sort of communicate and make sure that this is followed by the staff. I think it's a very good point here. I don't see any other questions at this stage on the chat, and we are slowly getting towards the end of this webinar. So I would like to thank you, both of you, Carlos and Anne, for those very useful presentations, from, you know, values, mindset to practical, also concrete technical solutions. I think it has to be a combination of both, I would say. And knowing that measuring is the first step to be able to start prioritizing and set up actions, I think it's a good learning from this morning webinar. I would still invite you, all of you, to have a look at the Circular Tourism website, the Centro project website, for additional information. We will very soon publish the replay of that webinar for the people who could not attend the whole an hour 15 minutes. So keep having a look at the website, and we'll also try to have a short summary of the main insights of this conversation we've had today. So thanks a lot to all the viewers and the speakers. Keep informed on the LinkedIn page or the Facebook page of the project, because we have also new upcoming webinars in the coming weeks and months that might be interesting for you if you are involved in the tourism or hospitality industry. So thanks a lot to everybody, and have a nice day still. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.